There was something about music as a whole that invoked a particular emotion inside of me. I'd never been able to place said feeling, but I knew it was there. Every time it went away, I found myself wanting to feel it again. Truthfully, I'd do anything to get it to stay longer. Forever, maybe? The live version of J. Cole's album, Forest Hills Drive, played softly through my car's stereo. I'd cut it down when I spotted a familiar face, as if lowering the music would help me see better, walking into a popular coffee spot in downtown Seattle. 2 seconds longer and I would have missed her. Now that I had seen her, there wasn't anything that would stop me from speaking. It wasn't long before that slender frame I could spot a mile away exited Coffee Me Please. I rolled my window down and leaned out of it. "Ayo, Lock Queen!" I yelled, laughter falling from my lips right after. Not only had it earned me a bunch of looks from pedestrians walking to their destinations, but also from a pair of mesmerizing gray eyes. Only the stare didn't last long once Sawyer realized it was me. Her lips, painted a cherry red to match the tips of her locks, spread as she made her way over to me. "I almost cussed you out, Ishmael Holloway," she said, leaning her big-ass head into the window. "What are you doing here?" I picked up the cup matching the one in her hand, and she chuckled. "Same as you," I followed up with. I glanced at my watch, 10 minutes late for a meeting, but I couldn't pull off without speaking to you." She put her cup to her lips and eyed me curiously as she sipped. "I know Mr. Overachiever isn't missing his meeting for little old me." "Takes one to know one," I quipped, pulling on a piece of her hair. The woman worked a full-time job and had a side hustle she loved more than anything. If anyone was an overachiever, it was Sawyer Peterson. She swatted my hand away after I tugged on the strand again. Then she leaned further into the window, her eyes staring directly into mine. I hated when she did that, when she tried seeing through my soul by simply looking into my eyes. There were enough intuitive beings in my life. I didn't need another. At least, that's what I told myself any time I was in her presence. "I'm glad we ran into one another. I was going to call you later," she said softly, giving me puppy dog eyes. "I'll make you dinner if you help me figure out my earnings and what I'll pay in taxes for SP editing this year." Ah. Today's stare-down was about her wanting something. I could work with that. Everyone was aware that if you wanted me to agree to something, offering to cook me dinner would earn you a definite yes. "What exactly do you plan to make me?" I asked, leaning my head out the window as she backed away with a triumphant smile on her face. "Whatever you want, Ish." She turned and crossed the street, then yelled over her shoulder, "Are you free tonight?" She kept walking. "I'm late for work, but text me. Duty calls." Laughing, I watched Sawyer walk with her head up and stride sure until she turned the corner toward the Seattle Times building and disappeared from my view. That feeling I wanted to keep, the one I got from listening to music. Sawyer was the only woman who sparked the same emotion in me. Seeing her, being in her space, talking about any and everything under the sun, made my days better. For the most part, they weren't even bad to begin with, but she somehow enhanced them. She somehow brought me more peace, and who wasn't a fan of that? I hadn't admitted it aloud yet, but I had a crush on my sister-in-law's best friend. What the fuck was I supposed to do with that information? Shaking my head, I pulled away from the curb and drove the 2-block radius to where the Holloway agency sat. I parked in my designated spot, next to 3 luxury cars that belonged to my brothers, and made my way into the building. Once I made it to the top floor that housed the executive offices, I bypassed my office and walked straight into the conference room. "Well, look who decided to show up for work," Emmanuel said, one of his eyebrows raised in question. I lifted my coffee cup, a smirk pulling at my lips, and said, "I needed my fix."
to keep listening to this audiobook. I've left you a link in the description so you can do it at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.